Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering the question that I've been getting for the last month nonstop in my Instagram DMs, which is what are you bringing to the National? What do you plan on buying? And all of that sort. So if you guys don't know, of course, the National is coming up in Atlantic City. Of course, if you're watching this video, chances are you're going to the National, and I actually just dropped a video with tips and essentially how to kind of make the most money from the National from an investment perspective. Of course, I understand there are a lot of hobbyists that just want to go there to have fun, which is me partially, but also to recoup the money from travels and everything. So if you guys want to check out that video, I definitely suggest checking that out. But without further ado, I'm going to be answering this question. So my strategy going in, to be really honest with you guys, is mainly to be buying. I've definitely got quite a lot of cash set aside that I'm just going to be trying to find the best deals. And if you guys watched my last video, as I said, people with cash should be staying patient because the value of cash continues to go up towards the end of the show. You'll realize sellers continue to take less because people who came in with specific budgets, when their budgets dry up, the buyer pool gets a little bit stale, and a lot of money ends up going to the vendors, who are selling the cards, who get most of the sales and end up with the most cash at the end. And normal people walking in, buying and selling, their cash dries up. So if you do have cash, I definitely recommend being a little bit more patient. Trade night's probably the best time to be buying, in my opinion, just because vendors typically are not panic sellers. And I'd say the best people to be buying from in a market like this are panic sellers, people who are really trying to get rid of cards. You can probably feel it from the negotiation if somebody's kind of, really trying to push that sale on you. And that's where I found I've got the best deals from. So for me personally, I'm really looking to buy. A few players I have in mind that I'm really looking to get cards of are Kevin Durant. I definitely believe wherever he gets traded, I think that's going to be great for his card market, because his list of places he wants to get traded to are contenders. And I truly believe that, someone trading so much for a superstar, they're going to want the superstar to be there. And I think Kevin Durant's kind of focused on the Phoenix Suns and Miami Heat. So if it's not one of those teams, I think the teams are going to be a little bit scared to trade for him. So I personally believe he's going to end up on a contender. So I think it's a good time to be buying up Kevin Durant. I'm personally looking for his Topps Chrome Refractors in a PSA 9 or PSA 10. I'm also looking for LeBron. I just think he's extremely low overall in terms of career accomplishments, and just overall coming off of a down year is a good time to be buying an all-time great. So I think that's a little bit more of a long-term play for me, but at the current prices he's at, I think it's a good time to be buying in. So I'm looking for his Topps Chrome Refractors as well. And then in terms of what I'm kind of bringing, so I'm bringing quite a lot of just base cards that I want to move out of. And I just think personally, yes, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a loss on quite a lot of these cards, but I think it's going to be worth it in terms of moving it into something I feel a little bit more strongly about buying. So another one of those cards that I really want to buy is a nice Donovan Mitchell card. I definitely think Donovan Mitchell's been playing in such a small market team in Utah, and I think if he does end up in a team like Miami, New York, or just a bigger city with more attention, his prices are really going to benefit from that. So it's just like a classic example of, collectors who want to buy Donovan Mitchell's cards. There's such a small pool in terms of Utah Jazz collectors that I've seen in the sports card hobby, and I believe if he does end up on a bigger market team, the buyer pool for Donovan Mitchell's cards is going to, expand quite a lot, and I think that's just going to cause his market to really take off because he's got the game. He just doesn't really have, the playoff success that a lot of people are looking for, which, for example, we saw in Tatum last year. His high-end market really took off when he started to have a lot of playoff success. So I think if he does end up in a trade where he ends up in a contender or just a bigger market team, it's a good opportunity. So I'm looking for a nice high-end Donovan Mitchell card, whether that's an RPA, a scarce prism, a gold prism, whatever it ends up being. I'm definitely looking for deals out there. So yeah, those are honestly kind of the main focuses I have. I'm not one who's really broad and just looking and seeing what catches my eye, because I believe that that's when people make the most mistakes. I think if you're going into the National, being a lot more specific in terms of these are the cards that I want to find, and you're going to find them at the National. I'll tell you that much, right? You're going to find pretty much everything you're looking for in terms of mainstream players. So I definitely think it's a good time, to be buying up those guys, which I am buying up. And in terms of selling, I think there's a very few amount of things where I would say it's a good time to sell. My only thing is, if I'm selling something and I honestly think it's going to go up, I personally think it's still worth it to sell if you can use that money to buy something that you think has more upside, right? So a lot of things, you may be looking at like, I don't know if I should sell this. I think it's going to go up another 20% in a year. Well, if you could use that money into another investment, right? Switch it into another investment that you think has the potential to double in a year, right? That could be a good opportunity. So I would definitely suggest not paying too much attention into what you paid for cards, because at the end of the day, that's irrelevant in terms of making the best business decision possible. If you bought in too high at the peak, and you're just holding off to hope it goes back, you could end up just, it's just not worth it, right? If you have a card, it has its certain value, and that's the value of the card. Now, you have that much money to play with, and you should probably put that money into the place where you feel best suited to get back up to what you paid for it. So I definitely suggest not looking at what you paid for your cards. If you have to take the loss, but put that money into an area that you feel most comfortable with, that you're most confident in. So I definitely suggest that's the number one thing for me. Even if I'm taking losses, it's going to be worth it if I'm buying into cards that I prefer to invest in. So I think that's going to be key. Of course, buying up deals is always what I'm trying to do. So on the long-term end, I'm very motivated to buy LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Donovan Mitchell. But at the same time, if I'm finding deals, 80% comps, 75% comps for liquid cards, I'm going to be flipping that at the National, right? So those are things I'd like to take home with me. But in terms of flipping, I definitely just want to make back at least the money that I would spend traveling from California. I think that's definitely a key for a lot of people showing up at the National, making their money back, having a good time. That's kind of the main things, but I would definitely suggest, if you do see flipping opportunities, buying from panic sellers, selling to motivated buyers is the way to go. A lot of panic sellers are willing to take very low offers right now. So I definitely suggest if you're out there and you're ever afraid or get anxiety when you're trying to make a low offer, say 70, 80% comps, I definitely suggest just make the offer. Worst comes to worst, they say no. That's the number one thing. You just never know. There could be a price you would have offered and been willing to pay, and the seller would have been willing to take, but you just never made the offer. So definitely make low offers, start low, work your way up. But at the end of the day, if you're buying liquid cards for, 80% comps, I think you're always going to have a good time in terms of finding a buyer, because there are a lot of motivated buyers. Like I said in my last video, a lot of people making impulsive decisions. They see a card they like, they just kind of go out there and spend it because they're at the National. It's kind of an environment boost where you just kind of make more impulsive decisions, and that's always how card shows are, especially the National. So sell to excited, motivated buyers. They're going to be the ones who are willing to pay the most. And then, of course, buy from those panic sellers who are just wanting to get rid of cards because you're going to get the best deals there. And then, like I said, if you're selling cards, show up as early as possible because people have specific budgets, and when their budgets dry up, it can be tougher to sell. So if you're selling, show up as early as possible, get your cards in front of as many potential buyers as possible. And if you're buying, be a little bit more patient. Cash will dry up, and that's when you can be really aggressive. So I really hope this video, kind of helped you guys out. If you are going to the National, definitely drop a comment down below. Let us know what you're bringing, what you're trying to buy. And then overall, maybe we can make some deals in the comment section below, because I know a great amount of the hobby is going to be there. And a lot of bigger corporations as well, such as eBay. Obviously you can grade. If you don't know, you can grade with PSA, BGS. All those guys will be there. So it's definitely just a great opportunity. Buy and sell with no fees whatsoever. As you guys know, on eBay, you're going to have 10%, 12% fees. So if you're selling, always keep in mind that you're getting 10% more in terms of eBay price because you save on fees. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.